This is the Daily Wrestling News for February 22nd, 2021. We are powered by the Eastern Observer. My name is Ryan Joy, and I'm coming to you live from Minutes to Belltime Studios on the beautiful Treasure Coast of the Sunshine State. And I'm joined today by Coastal Championship Wrestling star and current CCW Southeastern champion, Bugs Moran. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ryan. How you doing?
Very good, very good. You're just back from a snowy event in Nashville this weekend, so glad to see that you're doing well and not stuck in the snow somewhere.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm in Savannah right now. I don't know if it's Tennessee or Georgia, but I know it's Savannah, and it's still not that warm, but it ain't bad. It ain't Tennessee. It ain't Nashville. That's for sure.
All right. Well, if people are looking for Elimination Chamber coverage or something, I did a post show last night, and go check that out. We're gonna just suspend all that coverage, and we're just gonna talk to Bugs this morning, and learn about him and his career and everything that's going on with CCW and him. So if you're ready, sir, I got a bell to ring.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's way better than the Miz becoming WWE champion anyway. So Bugs Moran.
So you're holding the CCW Southeastern Championship in your hand. Congratulations on winning that. People can go watch that on episode 118 of Live on YouTube. So congratulations. Is this two-time champion now?
Yes, sir. I am now the two-time Southeastern champion, which feels good. Feels good to have some title defenses under my belt now, because I won it, and it was that week that we just shut the entire world down. So I didn't really get too many chances to go out there the first round. So this is going to be a much better title reign for me, I think. It already has been, really.
Yeah. So with all the shows that I've been to, you're always introduced as being from the van down by the river. So I'm wondering. So I guess you're on remote location now, but I was going to ask you how the Wi-Fi was in the van. Hopefully we're going to have a good.
Oh man, it's a modern marvel, man. You get internet just about anywhere. It's great. I found some ways that I can just plug something in, type in this and that. So the Wi-Fi is good, and actually right now I'm staying at a friend's house, and that's predominantly the van down by the river is a little bit of a nod to one Chris Farley, but not to say I haven't stayed in a van down by the river, but my friend's Wi-Fi is really good. I hope. I mean, you can hear me, right? You can see me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're coming through clear. So before we go deep into wrestling, we're 8 days removed from Valentine's Day. And the name Bugs Moran really, it strikes me here. So I'm familiar with the gangster Bugs Moran, and I'm wondering what kind of has inspired you to use that name.
Nice, yeah, man. I love history for one thing. He's a gangster. I'm a gangster, obviously. No, actually, what it was is I traveled a lot, and a lot of those people you meet out there, whether they be crusties or just wayward traveling types, but a lot of people get different names out there, and somewhere along the way I got Bugs. I remember staying, it was somewhere in Montana, and everyone they all have weird names there. It's all like Moon Bear and this and that, and these three girls just were like, "You're Bugs." And at first I thought it was because I'm an insect, and I was like, "Oh, that's incredibly insulting." This sucks. And they were just because they had seen me around for a couple days, and they were like, "You're like Bugs Bunny. You're tall, you're skinny, you're just messing with everybody." And then it just stuck. I just and then I had just been Bugs for years and years and years and years now. And then Moran, I had to just fill it up with something. I think I might be Irish. I don't really know. Sometimes I like whiskey, so that might be it. That might be the transition.
Well, that's a good connection. Bugs Moran, the gangster. He was taking a shipment of whiskey on Valentine's Day. He slept in, so
he walked past. He actually, I think he got there late, and then was like, something's weird. something's weird about this. And he actually just straight walked past and was like, nah. And then found out like a bunch of his guys got, shot up. But yeah. And it has its, I'm still not exactly the most searched thing on YouTube yet, because like I'm like, oh man, if you go to page 2 of Bugs Moran, you might find me.
If you type in Bugs Moran wrestler though, you're at the top.
Good. Well, I would certainly hope so.
So that's an interesting portion of your origin story. And DC, Marvel, that kind of thing. Everybody loves to get origin stories. So as pertains to wrestling, how did you grow up a wrestling fan? And is that kind of how things started for you? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like started in that, like right as the Attitude Era started. That was right about when I first started catching it here and there. I'd have to go to like friends' houses and stuff like that, because I couldn't watch it where I at home. And so yeah, I started going to shows when I was a kid, and started going to a bunch of indie shows as I got older and whatnot. And then I think getting back into it has really like reinvigorated a lot of my love and appreciation for it. So yeah, it's always been around though.
Who are some of your favorites when you were growing up?
Yeah, my number one guy is Kane. I love Kane.
Are we talking like a 1997 debut Undertaker, or Kane versus Kane with X-Pac? Or
I'm just a Kane faithful, like it doesn't matter if it's WrestleMania 20 and like the Undertaker is coming back. I'm still rooting for Kane. I'm like, this is gonna be it. This is the time. At the Royal Rumble this year, everyone was laughing at me because they're like, who's gonna win? I was like, Kane. And then he came out, and I was like, it's his time. It's finally happening. They're pushing him to the top, And then, unfortunately, they just decided to go with the other guy who's been around for like 25 years.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys. It is kind of similar to yourself. You switch in and out of characters and such. But Kane has, over the years, kind of like Chris Jericho, he's morphed and he's done new things and brought in new elements, with corporate Kane and things like that and stuff. So
yeah. I mean, I think I wish I wish they could have done certain things differently, but everything that he was like he had to do, I think he did well, And but yeah, it was definitely like, once he took the mask off, it was sort of like, why would you do that? But I loved all of it. Another guy is RVD. I mean, I remember like watching them win the tag team titles, and it blew my mind, because like what a mix that was. These are my two favorite guys. Have nothing to do with each other. So that was great. I remember that clearly.
Now, do we see any of Kane or RVD's influence in your style or in your work?
Well, if I was 6'9", I might have incorporated more of Kane stuff. But no, RVD heavily influenced a lot of even though Kane was like just my like tried and true favorite guy to see, like RVD was like right up there, and he is the one. Actually, my first ever live event that I got to go to was in Chicago, and the main event was Christian RVD for the title, for the IC title, and I actually got the privilege of telling RVD, I'm like, because he's the only dude I'd mark out for, like 100%. Like, I mean, only one. Like everybody else, I'll shake your hand, just say hi or whatever. But I was like, dude, you in 2003, you jumped off, the ladder and landed on Chris and won the IC title, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. And that was a great show. And I've tried to use a lot of his stuff because it was just exciting, man. It's just exciting to watch that guy, and he has a certain element of realness that he looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like he's gonna actually whoop your ass or whatever.
There you go, Mr. Monday Night.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you also about, we talked a little bit about moving in and out of characters and stuff. Like, if people go back and they watch CCW Live episode 110, they see your match with Bram, and which people might most recently recognize him as Thomas Latimer from NWA. But what are the circumstances that lead Bugs Moran to morph into the Joker? Because that's how you wrestled that match.
I mean, I just go all out for Halloween. What a like wonderful time of year, man. So I always gotta do something special. And then I had wrestled as Joker the year previously on Halloween because the movie had just come out. And it's actually I am terrible. Like I'm happy I'm doing this because I am so bad with social media. I just love to go out there and do it, the live crowd, my own thing. I love it. The social media I am just garbage at. But I found out that on TikTok I had like 300,000 like views and shares or something on these Joker videos I had done, and I had no idea. So yeah, going up there, I was like, I didn't know what I was going to be doing at all, and I was like, whoever I work, I can incorporate this. You know, I like doing stuff that the crowd hasn't seen, especially nowadays because you get a lot of matches at an indie show. It's not just 5 matches; it's 9, 10, 11. You know, like you go to certain ones, it's like you're there for 5 hours, and you're like, why did I do that? So you want to try different stuff, and you hope it works, and it was something that was working. So I and it's just fun, man. I had a lot of fun, and Bram, dude, like I love that guy. He was all about it because he didn't have to go in there and enjoy that, like he could have absolutely been like, oh, what in the hell is this? He could have not been totally big league me about it and just was like, yeah, and then do this, like you're telling me to hit you, you're telling me cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess the message there is if you see Bugs Moran on the lineup, you don't really know what you're going to see.
You have no idea. You have absolutely no. Yeah. Well, on Saturday, I went to the ring and it was cold, so I just kept all my clothes on. I pulled a Mick Foley. Somebody like, you came in the same clothes you wrestled and left in. I was like, it's cold outside, man. Like I'm a hobo. What do you expect? I'm like wrapped up. I have a beanie. I look like trash, And then I was like, great. This is why I showed up like. And yeah, you know what? The crowd ate it up. They said I had started the best chant, and it's too cold chant because it was too damn cold.
Yeah, we were talking before we went live here. Poor Nashville fans have sat through the rain and they sit in the snow when it's cold, but they keep coming back to see CCW. So I think that's
man. I mean, that's one reason that you do is that, like, and it's so great to be in front of live fans again because it reminds you, like, we've only been there 3 times, and I'm starting to recognize these people. And I remember the first time we went, it was like a torrential downpour during the like in the middle of the matches. Like I had just had mine and it was a beautiful day. It was sunny, it was hot. I hate working out. I hate working in the sun. It's terrible. I hate outdoor events. And then like 3 matches later, it just rained heavily. And then the fans go inside. They like, some people beat each other up inside. They came back outside. The second show was good. The third show, they're like freezing. It had to have been like 50 degrees inside the place, and they're just in their jackets having a great time. And that's why you love it. Like they were there to be entertained, and they were, and it was so good to like have that. And they're faithful. It's great. It was really, really good show.
awesome. Well, you talked earlier about you're looking forward to defending the Southeastern Championship. So I'm wondering from the folks on the roster, are there any opponents that you're looking forward to defending and putting that notch on your belt against?
Man, I mean, I get this question a lot, and so like I'm happy to work anybody, but if I really, the only person I want to work, like, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know how you book it because he's the champ, dude. I want to work Santos, dude. That'd be great. That'd be really fun. I mean, we've only gotten like bits and pieces of each other in different matches. I mean, there hasn't been a one-on-one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like everybody else, I think I've beaten it.
You already have that notch, so it's like.
I think I have the notches, dude. My belt is long. But yeah, I mean, if I had to pick anybody, I would love to work Santos sometime. But we'll see how that works out. In terms of like title defenses, I mean, he can, anybody can come through.
Well, if the CCW executive committee is listening, we want a title for title match or champion match.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That'd be, yeah. That will put butts in seats.
There you go.
I'm doing my best not to swear a bunch on your podcast here, man. I'm doing my best.
I appreciate it. So if people are hearing about Buds Moran for the first time, are there matches on YouTube that you would direct them to go watch to kind of see what you're all about? We've talked about a couple already, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the best stuff was, I mean, I love the match with Bram. I didn't come out on top or anything, but yeah, and actually, I don't know if you ever saw. There's this great hardcore match I have with Vic Arson from Rising Tide. It was a like a fundraiser show we were doing for Alex Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put a link up here at some point. We'll put a link up. I'll go find it. And yeah, that match was nuts. That was because it was just one of those matches where like we went in there and it just went off the rails, and it was like such a small crowd, but it was. Here, I'll put the highlight video up.
Okay, cool.
Because then it's only like 6 minutes instead. And it was like 22 minutes. So and what I like about this is you get a little bit of everything I'm about, because like we're beating the crap out of each other, and we are. But there are elements of everything, man. Like, cause it gets rough and it gets kind of funny, and we're actually working and everything. Everything I do with Jackal is usually really good. There's gonna be a couple ones too actually coming out on a live that I know that are gonna be coming up here in a little bit. That I've just had a couple title defenses, and I'm starting to get into my swing of stuff. Like like I'm getting to the point where like I look at my stuff from like, because it's about 3 years. It's like 3 years and a couple weeks actually, and yeah, I'm starting to get a lot good. I'm good now. I kind of like was I mean, you watch the first couple ones and you're like, oh no, oof. But I was always all right. But I'm getting really good now. So you gotta check it out. Bugs on Fire, baby.
There you go. And CCW Alive comes out each Tuesday at 7 p.m. So that's where you can catch.
Yeah, if I recall, I think one of my matches is on this week. So tomorrow, I think, if you want to see some hot Bugs action,
perfect.
Check it out.
So I have a couple of questions here that are more like, not really categorized anyway, but just kind of fun questions to ask. And the first one is about wrestling, the wrestling community in general. When you look at the wrestling community, you probably see stereotypes and stigmas that people think about wrestling. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, what's one of those that you think is totally untrue and everybody needs to drop and forget about?
I mean, so are you talking about from like a wrestler, like from in the locker room, out of the locker room?
Out of the locker room, I think, since we're talking to like a broad community.
Yeah, it's. Well, luckily, actually, I think I miss most of what I would not enjoy about it. Because like I said, I'm terrible with social media and whatnot. And so like, I want to go have a good time at a show or whatever. And just don't like outsmart the show too much. I mean, like I also don't want to belittle fans, which happens a lot in wrestling promotions because of this and that.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, dude, like just don't get cynical and just have a good time, you know. And at the live shows they do, but then I kind of like hear about all the garbage that goes on online sometimes. And I'm like, guys, geez,
Chill.
I would settle down, like it, you know. But yeah, and I don't know, and it's I don't notice it that much. I don't really pay that much attention to it. So the community has always been really, really good to me because if they haven't, I haven't noticed.
Good. That's good. Is there someone that you've worked with in wrestling that most inspires you?
Inspires me. Getting to know Brian Cage has been inspiring. Like, I mean, there are certain people that you meet that you're like, they just, I just get it with that guy because a bunch of people tell you to work hard, and you're like, okay, you work hard, but then you can just, I mean, physically you see how much this guy works hard, but he's one of the guys that I know that like he knows how to wrestle, dude. He knows just everything about it, and that's what I aspire towards. That's what inspires me. You know, is that you have this wealth of knowledge, and you're always learning and stuff like that. And I've just gotten to like train with him and stuff like that. Working the colognes was really like that was what like inspired me about that was that I'm up and coming, right? And these guys are just absolutely treating me like an equal, and so that was like sort of like this like nod that this community will accept you and stuff like that. And that's great because you don't get that in other avenues. Like I've done a bunch of other stuff here and there, and like the people who are up here will look down, and so that was really really cool experience too.
What's different about Bugs Moran 1 year from now? You've talked about how things are looking really good. If you go look back at 3 years ago to now. So what's different a year from now?
Oh, brother, man, that is not a question for Hobo. I don't know what state I'm in. I know I'm in Savannah. Like, because it's either Tennessee or Georgia. I fell asleep in the car, and we're here now, so I don't really know.
So I have the same question about 1 hour from now. It's equally.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe breakfast, dude. Maybe breakfast, and then we'll go from there.
All right, so final question. If you could wrestle anyone in the history of wrestling, who would you wrestle?
Maybe there's so many, man. I mean, I'd have to pick two because like I'd love to work Jimmy Valiant because that'd be just hilarious, and then I'd love to work Andre the Giant.
Also hilarious.
Well, it would just if I could be me right now, 2021 Bugs Moran, and it's like 1978 in Japan. I'm like against Andre the Giant. Like it would be the most insane thing ever, Like, I love working big guys because they don't do anything, and they love me because I'm just hopping around. They just have to stand there and like move their arms around, and they're like, "Great, oh thank God, I love," And then like I'm getting to do all my stuff. I get to do everything I want to because they're like, "Oh," and then it's great. And so that'd be the dream match. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a Andre the Giant, the life size wall detail right here. So I call him the bouncer of my studio.
Yeah, I'll do it, man. I would do it.
So, all right. Well, I have a couple of things to tell people about before we get out, and then we'll come back and a couple more questions. But let me tell people about some other shows that they can watch. The Primetime Rundown with Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Friday nights. The Primetime Rundown takes you through the world of sports. The show kicks off at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And also, the Essential Wrestling Podcast returns on Tuesday night. Al Carl, John Smith, myself, John Connie, Garrett Heffy return for another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. Our show, the Daily Wrestling News Show, will return tomorrow with Travis, and it's here every day, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. And so, Buds, before we get out of here, do you want to tell people about where they can catch you on social media? I know it's not your favorite thing.
Yes, no, follow me,
Yes.
please, for the love of God. So like Dan gets off my keister. Yeah, Hobo Bugs, man. I'm on Instagram at Hobo Bugs. I have a Twitter. I do. I'm at Hobo Bugs. Bugs Moran on Facebook. Yeah, man, and then just check me out. We're gonna be doing some CCW shows here in a couple weeks, and I think Battle at the Brew #2.
Yeah, March 6th.
Yep, come Hialeah, Miami area. Come check us out.
Yeah, and then a couple of other shows. The St. Lucie Showdown, I think, is the 19th.
Oh yeah, you know my shows better than I do.
Yeah, well, it's St. Lucie Showdown. I'm in Port St. Lucie, so that one I have.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, like maybe breakfast in an hour, man. I don't know.
All right, we need to let Bugs go and get some breakfast. This has been the Daily Wrestling News Show. Thank you, Bugs, for coming in on and doing this.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ryan. It's been a joy.
All right, well, we'll catch everybody tomorrow.